Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician, and this is Holomancer.
And of course Dora, the most daring reporter.
We are infinitely grateful that we have another opportunity to see you all again.
Hearthstone has plunged into an unusual crisis.
This time the problem is not related to the terrible competitive environment, critical bugs or completely broken mechanics. Hearthstone is in good shape, but for some reason players have stopped making in-game purchases, at least on the mobile platform.
The release of the Death Knight class is designed to make things much better, and it's really something incredible. But at the same time, Activision Blizzard makes extremely controversial decisions that can completely destroy all the efforts of the development team.
Today we will talk about all the pros and cons of the announcement of Death Knights, and the most important new features in the latest patch.
We will try to determine the future direction of the game and discuss the potential appearance of 4 sets in the game instead of 3.
The current state of Hearthstone remains uncertain. On the one hand, this is no longer a collectible card game in the usual sense. On the other hand, the evolution into a gaming platform is still not complete. Creating new ways to play is not enough for the healthy functioning of the platform. Numerous modes and formats require a ton of effort and regular content. In addition to this, the game needs at least periodic innovation. Unfortunately, the previous 2 phases of expansions were extremely stingy with completely new things.
According to Sensor Tower and App Magic, Hearthstone's revenue on the mobile platform has dropped dramatically.
40% of our viewers believe that the main reason for this phenomenon is boring gameplay and monotonous new content. Despite monthly patches, a significant increase in new cards and a highly balanced competitive environment, the developers no longer manage to surprise players as before. This means that Hearthstone has become too predictable, plus the lack of significant innovation this year has made things even worse.
But the 3rd phase of expansion will change the situation dramatically. The most important innovation is the release of the 11th class, Death Knight. And it's incredible. The new class has specific rules for building a deck, as well as a special resource, Corpses, which is used to improve the effects. All this makes the gameplay of the Death Knight completely unique. It's a great design that goes far beyond the usual things in Hearthstone.
But Blizzard has done everything to ruin all the exciting hype around the new class. To get full access to Death Knight, you will have to purchase an additional mini set, Path of Arthas, for $15 or 2,000 gold coins. Premium players who pre-order for $80 will receive this set for free, which makes buying a $50 pre-order almost pointless.
In addition, the March of the Lich King set will contain 145 cards instead of 135. At the moment, we have no evidence that this will make the collection more expensive. If Blizzard proportionally reduces the number of neutral legendary and epic cards, then this will have little effect on the cost. Blizzard hasn't given us any information about the number of rarities, so we have doubts about the company's true plans. By the way, a special mini set for the Demon Hunter was completely free, as well as the basic cards. Moreover, the release of this class did not affect the cost of the collection. Our post about this fact on Twitter caused a wave of hatred. We were accused of disinformation. Some players believe that Demon Hunter and Death Knight cannot be compared, since the new class has received more new cards and the price is justified. Moreover, we chose the wrong naming. Technically, the basic cards for the Death Knight will be free. You will only be asked to pay for an additional mini-set for the class. Although all these claims do not change the essence of our post. All starter and basic cards for Demon Hunter were free, while some of the Death Knight starter cards will require additional resources to be spent. Which, of course, restricts your access to the new class. Thus, free-to-play players will have the choice between getting full access to Death Knight cards or buying more packs of the new expansion. New players will also have an additional purchase option, as there are not enough current sets to monetize.
If you've been regularly spending $50 on pre-orders, this time you have a better reason to spend $80 to get this mini set. This is an example of the direct manipulation of free resources that Blizzard occasionally uses to force players to make a purchase. But the most interesting thing is that the problem lies not in the greed of Blizzard. The community fully endorses this approach. This topic is not discussed on Reddit. Popular members of the community do not consider this fact a problem. Players want to pay more, so Blizzard is doing everything right. But at the same time, this does not negate the potential negative consequences for the game in the long run. We have devoted 2 previous videos to this topic.
We explored changes in the game and how it affected profits. Do you remember adventures in the form of Dungeon Run, for which the developer suddenly asked to pay money? The community also felt that this was a reasonable approach, as you could get some packs for completing it.
This manipulation was one of the causes of the biggest disaster in the history of the game in 2019, which led to a halving of revenues and, subsequently, to a reduction in the active audience by several times. Please note that after this, paid solo content became free again. This time, Blizzard is trying to hide the negative changes behind the back of the Death Knight, hoping that we will not notice the catch. This approach forces dedicated fans to spend more additional resources, and also increases the entry barrier for new players and for players trying to return to Hearthstone. Moreover, these actions will reduce the level of loyalty and trust in developers. The company is ready to take these risks in order to get an additional $15.
Let's get back to the positive news. Some cards from the Knights of the Frozen Throne expansion return to standard for a limited time. This decision can seriously shake up the competitive game. In my opinion, this is something that the game has been missing for a long time. In addition to this, Hearthstone is celebrating Hallow's End. We've got a new menu with a special limited time rewards track. To get all the rewards, players are forced to grind special XP points. But the funny thing is that the number of useful resources has again decreased compared to last year, since the arena ticket has disappeared. Also, the portrait for Battlegrounds has been replaced with 2 emotes. Although it is worth noting that the March of the Lich King packs have more nominal value than the packs of the previous expansion.
Despite this, I love the new approach to events. The game really found the atmosphere of the holiday.
Mercenaries have also received some love. In addition to the quest system rework, a small community of fans finally got the opportunity to get rid of extra coins. In one of our videos, we warned our viewers that Blizzard would not allow players to craft coins for specific mercenaries, as this is not in line with the ideology of the mode. Our expectations have been fully met. The developers have introduced the ability to exchange excess coins with a new currency, Renown. With this new resource, you can only exchange a tiny amount of coins using completely random daily offers for mercs that still need to be upgraded. The exchange rate is incredibly high. On average, for 17 excess coins of various rarities, you can get only 1 mercenary coin.
The new system will allow players to receive the missing coins drop by drop, which allows them to get some benefits only in the long term. Grind will continue to be the most important source of resources. This change formally solves the problem of an overabundance of coins but does not make the mode more attractive to a wider audience.
A few words about Battlegrounds. According to our numerous surveys, Blizzard has been unable to find effective ways to monetize the mode. The new progression system turned out to be a big failure. The most popular mode brings in significantly less money than traditional Hearthstone.
Battle Bash is another attempt by the company to find a stable source of income. It's a pool of 10 special cosmetic items that can be unlocked by paying $10. But in order to get all the rewards, players need to collect 10 bashes. Each victory in the Battlegrounds mode will earn 1 bash, which can unlock 1 random reward from the pool. In such an unusual way, the developers are trying to increase sales and slightly increase the total daily playtime metric.
In our opinion, this is another example of manipulation. You are given the opportunity to take part in the lottery, but in order to receive the desired reward, you will have to pay money. At the same time, this purchase is completely optional. Unlike cards, cosmetics do not affect your effectiveness. In most cases, it will be impossible to achieve a satisfactory win rate with a budget deck. This is why it's so important to keep the balance of free resources in free-to-play games.
But our viewers took this proposal extremely ambiguously. 49% of our followers think this idea is disgusting. Despite this, 9% of viewers think this offer is amazing. These players may turn out to be potential buyers. Even if this purchase is made by such a limited number of players, this offer has a chance to become a commercial success.
But these are not all new ways of monetization. In the next patch, we are expecting legendary hero skins and a new type of cosmetics, signature cards. We know that the prologue and the new solo content will be free, which suggests that the main part of the adventure may be paid. Blizzard is trying to monetize absolutely everything. It looks like agony.
Based on this, we want to make an assumption about potential changes. In the near future, we may expect to introduce 4 expansions per year instead of 3 expansions and 3 mini-sets. This approach solves 2 very important problems. It will increase revenue and create a more diverse and dynamic environment for players. This will be especially important for Battlegrounds and Mercenaries players.
Of course, this approach will affect the cost of the game for premium players. If you regularly buy a tavern pass for $20, then your expenses per year will increase by almost 35%. These changes will also affect the overall cost of the complete collection. Throughout the expansion phase of Castle Nathria, players have the opportunity to receive a total amount of resources that is equivalent to 160 actual packs in a relatively simple way. These resources are enough to get a large collection of useful cards. But if the player wants to collect them all, which is normal for a collectible card game, they will need to purchase an additional $80 pre-order plus a mini set for $15. Thus, the maximum cost of one expansion phase for a player who does not spend too much time in the game is $95. So, the cost of a collection for 1 year is $285.
With the introduction of 4 sets per year, and provided that the number of free resources during the phase remains the same, the maximum cost of the collection will be $320. At the same time, nothing will change for free-to-play players. They will only receive the advantages of a more diverse gameplay.
But there is another very important drawback. Increasing the number of sets will result in content overload. Modern Hearthstone is like a carousel. Every month we get something new and it's cool. The number of new cards is huge as never before, but as we said, almost half of the community thinks that the new content is monotonous. It is very difficult to create unique things in a short time in such quantities. The new approach will inevitably lead to another increase in the speed of the Hearthstone carousel, which can lead to players starting to feel sick. We believe that quality is more important than quantity.
Do not forget about other problems that this potential solution will cause. For example, a new power creep level and an entry barrier for new players. According to our community survey, only 8% of players reacted very positively to this idea. More than 60% of players consider this concept rather negative.
I really like the current state of Hearthstone. New ways to play, new content, the game looks fresh and exciting. But all the progression systems except for the rewards track are in a terrible state, although even the rewards track needs to be innovated. Blizzard's current strategy is to try to get loyal fans, to pay more money, to cover the consequences of their mistakes. This approach can negate all the efforts of the developers.
What do you think? How realistic is 4 expansions a year? How do you feel about this concept? Will this approach make Hearthstone better? Share your opinion in the comments and also take part in our polls on the community tab.
Finally, we would like to express our huge gratitude to our patrons.
Dear friends, your support is incredibly important to us.
Thanks to each of you for being with us today.
We hope to be able to get in touch in the future.
Take care of yourself.
And good luck.
Job's done.